1, 2, 3.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your boy MJ. Welcome to Before the Pour with the Black Wine Guy. My guest today is author, senior partner at Deloitte, a large global consult. Why did they put that in there? He's a certified sommelier. If you're listening to this podcast, you should know what Deloitte is. My research team. He's a certified sommelier with the Guild of Master Sommeliers, a certified specials wine, and is currently a Master of Wine candidate. And he is growing wine in Bhutan. Everybody say hello to Michael Juergens. Did I say that right?
Juergens.
It's Juergens like the lotion?
Like the lotion.
Okay, perfect.
Although my friends call me MJ.
Oh, okay.
I know you think you got a hammerlock on that MJ game.
Well,
but,
no,
you know.
I mean, but see, it's actually, it's my first and middle name.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so it's actually like legit. That's what my mom called me. So, all right. Michael has written a number of books on wine and runs the wildly popular Drinking and Knowing Things wine blog, which is adapted into a book, which we have sitting on the desk here, which you'll see once we have released these videos. He's the founder of the Bhutan Wine Company, and he's leading the development of the wine industry in the magical Himalayan country. I didn't write that shit. He owns the award-winning SoCal Rum Company. We might get fucked up today because there's 3 bottles and one of them is rum right here on the table, which was recently awarded the highest point score in the history for any silver rum, although it says platinum on the bottle.
Yeah, that's our new branding.
Okay.
Because the scores were so high, we're like, this is better than silver.
Okay.
We should call it platinum. It's exactly the same rum. Has a new brand.
He is a professor at the Paul Merage School of Business at the University of California, Irvine, and he lives in Southern California, where he spends his time blind tasting, doing extreme sports, and obviously drinking and knowing things. Welcome, Michael. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nah, you did a pretty good job.
All right,
You only
man.
stumbled like 3 or 4 times.
I know, man. I mean, I only just got here 5 minutes ago.
I know. You sprinted in the door like,
Sprinted
we're fucking doing this. Let's go.
And yo, this is the dopest episode. We have a fucking full audience. We have 5. Dude rolled in with an entourage. I mean, this is like legit.
That's how we do.
All right, so listen, to warm up, so I can stop
We're off
stuttering.
We're off the rails already.
So I stop stuttering and shit. I'm going to ask you 10 questions. Don't overthink it. I don't think you will. You've been up drinking all night. And just answer with the first thing that comes to your head. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite book?
Cryptonomicon by Neil Stephenson.
Cryptonomicon. Never even heard of that one. But
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of stuff I never heard of today. I can already tell. What is your favorite movie?
Clockwork Orange.
Nice. Who's your favorite musical artist?
I'm probably going to have to go with Rage Against the Machine or maybe the Dead Kennedys.
Okay. Favorite food, last meal, death row. What are you having?
I'm having Wagyu brisket.
Who's your favorite athlete?
Me.
Oh, good answer. Fuck, I love that. All right. What was your favorite cartoon as a child? This ought to be good.
So we didn't actually have a television when I grew up.
Okay.
So I didn't really watch cartoons.
Okay.
But I would say, like, favorite of all time, got to be South Park.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Respect my authority.
Yeah. Lick my balls.
Exactly. Oh, my God. They're going to be a good one. Well, if you had a TV, I don't know. Did you eat cold cereal when you were young?
No, we didn't do a lot out of that either.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
like,
it
the
was,
TV, no TV.
Yeah, it was.
It's like probably the one, you were that no sugar household kid?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember when I was in like 3rd grade and the Dukes of Hazzard came out, and all the kids at school were talking about the Dukes of Hazzard, and I was trying to be cool and like play it off. But I thought it was about like the English dukes, and I failed to be cool.
Oh, my God. What's your current exercise routine?
So we do. I'm a part of this crew that does marathons around the world, and so most of my exercise routine is trying to get my fat ass off the couch and run. But sometimes I do a little mountain biking or lift a little weights.
Okay. Who's your favorite comedian?
Oh, that's a good call. Probably Jim Jeffries.
Yeah. Like Jeffries.
Yeah.
It's
It's kind of fallen off a little bit.
What was that show he was on?
Oh, Legit.
Yeah.
That was an awesome show. I can't believe they canceled that.
Yeah, that
it
was
was
a good
so
fucking show.
over the top.
Yep.
Like if you wanted it, wherever the line was, they were way
Yeah,
past
he
it.
was way past it. Oh my god. Who you have a very interesting life. So who would you most like to have a bottle of wine with that you already haven't had?
Richard Feynman.
Good one. Shit. Nice. Okay, and then one bonus question. What's your favorite curse word?
Motherfucker.
All right, right on. Listen, this was fun. If you want more Michael, make sure you tune into our episode of Black Wine Guy Experience. It's going to be off the chain. Until next time, everybody, it's your boy MJ. Peace. Hey, everybody, what's up? It's your boy MJ, and welcome to the Black Wine Guy Experience. My guest today is an author. He's a senior partner at Deloitte. He's a certified sommelier with the Guild of Master Sommeliers, a certified specialist of wine, and he's currently a Master of Wine candidate. Please say hello to Michael Juergens.
What is up?
Oh, Michael, so glad you're here. I'm going to tell him a little bit more about you. He has written a number of books on wine and runs the wildly popular Drinking and Knowing Things wine blog, which was adapted into a book that provides 52 specific wine recommendations. He is also the founder of the Bhutan Wine Company. He is leading the development of the wine industry in the beautiful Himalayan mountains. He owns the award-winning Southern California rum, actually SoCal Rum Company, which recently was awarded the highest point score in history for any Silver Rum, and now it's so good it's platinum. He is also a professor at the Merage School of Business at the University of California, Irvine. Michael currently lives in Southern California, where he spends his time blind tasting and doing extreme sports. Welcome to the show, Michael. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, you did a great job. I sound amazing.
You do. Don't you love that? Like when people like read your bio, like, damn it, did I do all that?
Wow.
Who is this guy? So Michael, man, you brought some. What wines you bring for us for our day drinking session here?
So I brought some interesting. Now, mind you, I was fettered by what I could get locally.
Yeah.
So I brought a bottle of rum for you, stuck that in my suitcase, but I had to go source some shit locally. But I tracked down a Verdejo, which is pretty oxidized, and it's 125-year-old ungrafted Verdejo vines from Castilla de Leon. And then the other one I brought, and I'll be interested to see if you even know what this is. It's Ihuligi, which is as Anne likes to pronounce it, Irula guy. That's kind of how it's spelled. It's Irula guy, but it's a.
See, I would have said Ilaria. Jesus.
Yeah, that's the producer's Ilaria, but this is a Tannat Cab Franc Cabernet blend from the French Basque country, and it's the rosé style. The actual still red wines are even more dope, but they didn't have that, so we're doing the rosé.
Okay,
but it's
wow.
pretty interesting. Super interesting shit.
Brought some funky stuff, man. I love it. Well, you are such an interesting guy. There's so much to get into this show. And first of all, everybody, you need to understand this is the first guest that rolled deep. He rolled deep. He rolled in here. He's got an entourage. There's 5 people in the studio, and we're in this tiny ass studio. I hope everyone's vaccinated. But this is a lot of fun. I feel like the show's evolving in season 3, man. So thanks for bringing everybody here. So you're a SoCal boy, born and raised?
Born and raised.
Tell me what it's like growing up in Southern California.
Pretty awesome, man. I grew up in a little town called Newport Beach. My elementary school.
Heard of it?
Yeah. It's my elementary school was literally on the bluff overlooking the bay, and it was a different world back then, man. There was a lot of surfing and riding bikes, and a lot less douchebaggery.
Yeah.
Let's put.
Yeah, because the beach towns. I lived out in California in the early 2000s, and people would tell me about how the beach towns.
Yeah.
I lived in Santa Barbara. There used to be a fucking stoplight on the 101. That's how small it was. You know what I mean? So all those beach towns, no one wanted to.
Oh no, they were the ghettos. The rich people lived in Los Angeles, and the poor people lived out on the beach.
Yeah.
And then at some point they figured out, we fucked this up. we need to flip this around, But it was you had these little beach bungalows, and we used to go sleep on the sand and go surfing, and it was cool.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just remember when I lived out there, you go to some of the high schools, and you the football stadium is a fucking mountain over here, right? You sit or the basketball court's on a bluff.
Right.
It's like bananas, It's so different from the East Coast. So was your family into wine at all, or just...
Not in the slightest. Yeah, actually, the way I got into wine, like I grew up, I grew up in the '80s in California. There was shit going on back then.
Oh yeah.
And my dad had gone to Italy and had come home, and someone had given him this bottle of 1975 Gattinara, and he didn't know what it was. And he sat there and he was like, "Yo, Mike, I got this bottle. It's old. Like, it's got to be good because it's old. Like, do you want some of this?" I'm like, "I don't drink wine, Dad." And he's like, "Come on." I'm like, "All right." And my mom was like, "You go out and drink that shit in the garage." And so we were sitting in the garage. We lit up cigars and I remember this vividly, like it was yesterday. I was maybe 22 years old, and we poured it into red Solo cups. And I remember taking the first sip and going, "Oh, fuck, that's what this is all about." And so that was like the aha moment.
Wow.
Like, there's something here.
Wow.
But I didn't really start, like, I just kind of dabbled around trying to figure out more about it. And then that led to one thing and the next thing and the next thing. And next thing you know, you're in the Himalayan mountains planting fucking Merlot 9,000 feet. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I see
progression.
how it got from there to there so quickly. So your dad, you said he had that bottle of Gattinara. Was he? I read somewhere that you built hot rods. Was your father into cars? Did you get into cars because of your dad?
No, my dad's he's like a physicist.
Okay.
So he's more like the intellectual type, and I was kind of the guy doing the dumb stuff. So yeah, no, not at all. I'm not sure where I got it. I got into motorcycles when I was a teenager, and that sort of led me down the if it's got an engine and it goes
The
real
need for
fast.
speed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. If it makes noise and it goes fast, I'm all in.
SoCal days, I can't drive 55. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. So we were talking in our warm up that you're a runner, and when you guys will see the clips when I promote it on Instagram. But he's got the sleeves, he's got full-on tats, right? So you're a runner, but I also understand you play drums in a punk rock band still?
I do, yeah. I've been playing drums for 30-something years, maybe more than that, actually, 40-something years. But, yeah, played in a number of punk bands, playing in a punk band now called Incandescibles. Got one album out on Spotify. You can check it out. And our second album will probably be coming out later on this year, hopefully.
Oh my
It's like a ska punk band.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
With a chick lead singer. It's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, see, it takes me back to Bow Wow Wow. Remember?
It's a little Bow Wow Wow with horns, maybe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there's not enough horns. I agree. There's not enough horns.
There's not enough horns.
Yeah, I love horns. It's going to be funky if you got some horns.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's so cool. We'll get to some wine. Relax, everybody. Eventually, we'll get around there. And so also, you're into extreme sports. What are some extreme sports that you...
Like if I could jump off of it or, climb it, like I'm pretty up for that. I did a really cool trip with a couple buddies of mine, one who's a neuroscientist at Stanford, and he's studying sharks. So we went out and dove with great white sharks at Guadalupe Island for a week. And these crazy motherfuckers were getting out of the cage and like swimming around with the sharks. And it's pretty terrifying. And here's a shark story. A lot of people don't know this. I learned this. And so they're like, look, when you're out of the cage, if a shark comes at you, and by the way, the sharks are like the size of a fucking Chevy Suburban. They're big. But they're like, if it comes at you, you just swim straight at its head. And I go, that doesn't seem like a super smart idea. And they're like, no. See, the shark is an apex predator, and everything runs away from it. So if you run straight at it, it doesn't know what to do. So it turns around and it goes away. And I go, who came up with that? Who invented that? Like, I got an idea. Hey, MJ, just swim right at it. Let's see what happens. And so I'm down in the cage, and these guys are out, and they're pretty, sophisticated, shark divers. And sure enough, this huge monster shark comes, and the dude sees it coming at him and just swims straight at its face. And he gets about 3 feet away, boom, shark peels off and goes away, and I basically soiled my wetsuit.
I was like,
And
get
just
the
watching
fuck
it.
out of here,
It was
right?
crazy.
Because I've heard some stupid shit. Punch them in the nose, like people say.
Yeah, the punching him in the, I don't know about that, but there was one point, like I was too terrified to get out of the cage.
Yeah.
But there was this one point where this one shark, we were out there for a week, and you got to know all the different sharks. This one shark was like hanging out, just hovering right outside the cage, just staring me in the eyes. This guy had like a scar on his face. He was. Someone were curious. This guy was fucking mean, and so he's sitting there, and he's 18 inches away from my face, and I'm terrified, and I don't want to turn and run up the ladder because I've been told if you run away, you're prey. And I'm like, this cage seems pretty flimsy. Like, I don't need this. So I'm sitting there, and I'm holding the bars, and the shark is around there. So I go, I guess I just have to go right at it. So I went, wah! And the shark was like, huh, and turned around and went away. So I did it once, but,
Oh my God.
but inside the cage.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
shit, that's
It's kind of like
One
the
time
pussy way of doing
more
it, but I
than-
still did it.
90.99% of the population would ever do. So, like,
Yeah, well, my buddy was doing a study on fear and how the brain processes fear, and so I was a pretty good candidate for that because I was terrified for a week straight.
oh my God.
Yeah, that took us down a weird rabbit hole, but
So, you surf, you're playing sports, driving fast cars,
Motorcycles.
Motorcycles. You went to UC Irvine for school?
I did,
undergrad?
yeah, undergrad and grad.
Okay. Did you live on campus or you like commute? Kind of. How'd you?
That's not really a live on campus kind of school.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like
Plus, I lived like a mile from there anyway, so it was. I just lived off campus and.
okay. So but you did you had your like college experience. I mean, you seem too gnarly not to
I actually
have tore it up.
Actually, funny you say that. I actually tore it up before I went to college. So I
Okay.
didn't start college till I was like 22, and I had my first kid when I was 23.
Okay.
So my college experience was a little bit different then.
Yeah.
But I had the same experience when I was 18 and 19. It just wasn't affiliated with the learning institution.
So, how'd you? Your dad's a physicist. How'd you decide to major in economics?
I actually literally. I decided I needed an MBA
Mm-hmm.
to get a good job, and UCI had this program that was like called the 3-2 program, where you could do 3 years of undergrad, and your fourth year was your MBA classes counted as your thing. And so I looked at it and I was like, "What's the fastest degree I could get?" And it was econ. So that's. I was all about means to an end because I was starting 4 years after everybody else, and I had a kid.
Yeah,
like
no, it
it was
makes
time to
sense
get
to me.
shit done.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me.
So, but I do. I'm a big fan of econ, but I got there because I
You won an MBA, yeah.
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 So I was less structured and planned than I would have liked.
I don't. It seems it's working out for you.
Yeah.
So like
Well, it's funny because all my sisters straight out of high school, right to college, and I was like the kid that didn't do that. But yeah, in retrospect, I do okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was on a 6-year program because I had a daughter when I was 20. So like it changes every freaking thing.
Yeah,
you know?
your college experience is a little different
Yeah.
when you got a newborn.
Yeah. So, so you get the MBA. What was your first job out of school?
I went straight to work for a Big Four firm. And what's funny is they came on campus and I was like, I'm going to interview with these guys because I don't care if I get the job. I don't want this job. I don't want to work for an accounting firm. Like that sounds terrible. And but I'm like, the interview is probably hard, so I'll go get the experience. And so I interviewed, and they offered me the job, and I turned them down. I said, no, thank you. And they're like, well, why did you interview? I'm like, I just thought it would be a good practice for a job I want. And there was this one guy who like he's like, dude, you need to come work for
Yeah,
us.
he's like, I want you to work for me because the way you were thinking. Right?
Yeah, he's like, listen, you should do this. And so he just hounded me for like 4 months, and finally I said, I'll do it for a year, but if it sucks, I'm quitting. And I just had my 25-year anniversary about 2 weeks ago. So there you go. Once again, weird how the world takes you.
Oh my God. So this is with 20. So this must be with Deloitte.
Yeah.
Are you happy they got rid of the touche part of that?
Yeah, it's still there from a legal perspective, but yeah, the branding has become a little bit more concise, and people are less likely to come up with interesting rhymes.
Yeah. Exactly. So, during you're still there, but like for 16 years, you held various roles at the Institute of Internal Auditors. What is that? What's that? What the hell is that? Sounds like a fun group to hang out with.
Wow, we're getting deep. Someone's been reading up on my LinkedIn profile or something. Growing, kind of coming up in the organization, I specialized in information technology risk and control. So like, how do we keep hackers from coming into our systems or whatever? How do we keep fraud out? And so there's a professional organization called the Institute of Internal Auditors that sets a lot of the professional standards. And so I was on a number of committees with them, and I ran their training program for some of their IT stuff. I mean, you can literally look at everyone's eyes are just fucking glazing over right now as we're talking about this, including yours. But let me tell you about the COSO cube and information governance.
We're laying the groundwork for all the really, really, really cool shit, man. Like, got to make it even better, So, because I'm thinking like you're a principal, senior partner, right? Deloitte's global firm, huge. You advise Fortune 500 companies, obviously, with your tat showing or not showing.
I usually wear a suit at work.
Yeah.
Thanks for continuing to bring that up, though.
I love it, though, man. I mean, listen, you are not the normal principal with Deloitte. You're not the normal Somm. You're not the normal master wine kid. That's what's so fucking awesome about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I honestly, I think what we all get into these situations where you think that you have to wear a mask of whatever that is, right? You're the sommelier, or you're the wine auctioneer, or you're the consultant or whatever. And in reality, what we all need to do is just have a little more authenticity. Like, show up as you, and whatever that is, and people will either like it or they won't like it. Right. But stop trying to pretend. This is who I am. I'm a punk rock guy who works for a conservative accounting firm that does a lot of wine. I mean, that's what it is. I think it took me a little while to figure that out, like to kind of be able to be comfortable wearing that skin. But
I don't know who it is, like E. Cummins or somebody. One of those old, he's like, it takes a lot of courage to grow up to be who you are.
Yeah.
Basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think, like, if you look at pictures, do you go back and look at pictures of yourself when you're a little kid and see the same fucking mischievous shit in your eye? Like, you're like how much we really don't change, like who you are at your core, right?
Dude, I have that picture on my desk. I'm 4, and I'm wearing a tuxedo, and I'm James Bond and some shit. And I'm like, I'm still that kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody else got it back then, but now they get it.
Yeah, that's so cool. I totally feel that, man. So let's get back into wine, everybody, because we got to talk some more stuff. But so the bottle of Gattinara kind of opened up for you, right? So then, when did you really start? Really drinking, collecting, studying? What was kind of how that evolution happened?
So I think once I started kind of my professional career, I had access to things like an expense account and dinners and stuff like that. And so that's how I leaned in on it. And I did it in this sort of the traditional douchey way, like, I like this Camus. I need to try some Camus.
All the steakhouse greats.
Yeah.
Silver Rum.
Yeah.
Harlan. Right. Yeah.
The bigger the better. Yeah. And so I kind of rode that wagon for probably a good 10, 15 years at least. And then sort of started branching a little bit. And then that goddamn Somm movie came out. And I was watching it with Anne. She tells the story better than I do, but apparently at the end of it, I just looked at her, and she was like, "Nope, don't do it." And I was like, "I'm fucking doing that." And so literally the next day, I went out and I signed up for the next intro Somm exam, which was 30 days out. And I'm like, I'm going to become a Somm in 30 days. And so I got all these books, and I just started reading and tasting and doing all this stuff. And I went down And I rolled into the test, and it's the 2-day thing. There's 120 people there, and I don't know if I'm going to make it or not.
Right.
Everyone else is a wine professional.
Right.
I'm just this dude, right? We're going through, and I make friends with some of the other people in the class, and they're like, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, "'Cause I want to see what I can do." And so they get to the end, and we take the exam, and I'm like the first one done, and I get out, and then everyone else comes out, and they're like, "God, you were done pretty fast." I go, "Yeah." Now I'm nervous. So then they read the names of everybody. And they're reading everybody off. And there's 120 people, and probably 80 of them pass. So they read 80 names. And I'm waiting for mine, and they don't read mine. And I'm like, shit. Well, it was cool. And then the dude's like, and also we'd like to give a very special thank you to the person who scored the highest. Where's Michael Juergens at? And I'm like, oh, shit, I did it. And so I go up, and I get the thing, and there's this dude that I had made friends with who'd been like, I'm going to get the prize. I'm gonna get the prize. And I'm like, I just want to pass. I don't care. And he was so pissed.
Was he like, motherfucker?
Yeah, he literally. He never fucking spoke to me after that. He thought like I sandbagged him. I wasn't sandbagging you. Anyway, so the MS is like, hey, we're doing the level 2 test tomorrow at Spago. Like, you should come take it. And I go, dude, I just started doing this shit like a couple weeks ago. Like, I'm not ready for that. And he goes, yeah, you are. Come do it. So I had some travel schedule. I moved my travel schedule around, ran home, basically got a suitcase, ran up to Spago, stayed kind of at the hotel around the corner, stopped at like the 7-Eleven and got like a couple cheap bottles of sparkling to try to figure out how to open the fucking sparkling.
The service part.
Yeah, the server. I've never served a table. I don't know how to fucking do this.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you've never done fucking service.
Yeah, never.
Wow.
And so I literally go in there, and I'm like trying to open the thing, and I fuck it up, and I'm having, they're grilling me with questions. I'm doing the best I can. And then I have to leave to go get on a flight. And I don't know if I passed or not. And so about a week later, they emailed me, and they're like, oh, yeah, you passed. I'm like, right on. And so then I was a somm. And then I'm like, but I don't really want to serve tables. And then I heard about this whole WSET thing.
Yeah.
So that's what put me on the path to that. And then I leveraged that, got into the MW program. Why they accepted me, I have no fucking idea. But they let me in, and here I am.
So I know we have quite a few listeners. If you listen, I tell you this all the time. First of all, I think it's great if you go that education route. He's obviously a fucking badass, right? So we're probably going to piss off a lot of listeners who tried. Been working in hospitality for like 7 years.
Oh, dude, let me tell you this fucking story. So when I got into the MW exam, or into the MW program, they brought our start group in, and we were doing introductions, and they got to me, and I said, I'm just here for fun. And the head examiner was in town from London, and I literally, he looked like he was going to stab me. And I was the total wrong thing to say to the industry people. What I should have said was, I'm doing this because I'm passionate and curious, and I want to know things. But what I said... Anyways, I totally cut you off.
At least you didn't say, I'm just here for shits and giggles. That really would have pissed him off.
I had nothing better to do.
And your best Austin Power impersonation, too. Oh, my God. What the fuck else am I going to do on a Saturday, right?
Yeah. It's either this or...
Yeah. I don't know, jump off a base jump or something.
Yeah.
Who's your? Do you get a mentor? Who's your mentor? Do you get a mentor with that? Who's your mentor?
You do get a mentor. You're assigned a mentor. My mentor. Here's the thing about mentor relationships. It's a give and take from both sides.
I agree.
And you sort of get out of it what you put into it. And I have not put much effort into it.
Gotcha.
And yeah, she hasn't really either. So I've actually had some really awesome mentoring relationships that have organically occurred.
Right.
But in terms of like my formal mentor, that has not been super great.
Well, I mean, I think because I used to work with kids in high schools, and people have all these programs. They talk about mentorship, but mentorship, you can't just put two people together. I think it was organic because you said it's a give and take.
Totally.
So I could see where that. Like you have such a unique personality. Like I could see like you need a mentor that like you guys actually click, not just like boop boop.
Well, my experience with the MW exam is that it takes a special breed of sort of uber geeky, passionate, almost, OCD, autistic focus to be able to even go through this, right? And so what happens is the people who are MWs are usually pretty unique individuals with pretty, strong personalities, and also me, but not necessarily the same personality as
I know exactly.
Right. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
I just, they're, to your point, there needs to be some sort of connection, and I definitely have that with a number of folks in the program, and also your kind of your peers that you're kind of going through the process with. It's sort of like this. The SEALs, when they're in they're holding their buddies up. We do a lot of that shit because it's
like SEAL training, right? Like
it's like the wine version of SEAL training. Apologies to all the
63% of you will not pass. How do I know? This is historically true.
Exactly. Yeah, and they tell you that like this test has an 8% pass rate, so be prepared to be disappointed a lot. And so you get
and plus Michael's in your cohort, so. Well, so you guys are fucked.
Well, so you get these little study groups that organically form, and so my first year I was in it, this study group formed, and it was a bunch of industry people, and none of them had any business savvy. And so one of the girls in the group was like, "We need someone who knows some business stuff. What about that Mike guy?" And everyone was like, "Fuck that guy." To hear him tell the story later, they're like, "No way. We don't want anything to do with that guy. He's a fucking dilettante and a douchebag, and like we don't want that guy." And she's like, "But we don't know anything about business." And they're like, "All right." So they grudgingly invited me, and I found out all this way later.
Yeah, of course.
but so then we get to the stage 1 exam, and I took it and passed it, and I was the only one of our group that did. And they're like, "Oh fuck, this guy's legit." And I still super good friends, super close. Matter of fact, yesterday was on the phone with the same crew.
Nice.
Trying to get through this. So you get those mentor relationships that are kind of more like peer mentoring, which I think is more valuable.
Yeah. No, I definitely know that. I went to law school, so you're supposed to be in study groups, so it's the same thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yep. Everybody's pounding on the outline and going through it together. So, how close are you? What is that master wine thing? For people who don't know, I don't really know because I'm not behind the scenes. Like, do you write a thesis?
It's super important to the people who care about that shit. It's a huge deal for like this really, really tiny demographic. So here's the way it works. So it's similar to the MS, except it's more about the broader knowledge of wine as opposed to service. There's 3 stages. You get accepted to the program, and if you're accepted, then there's stage 1, which is a 1-day exam, and it's theory and it's blind tasting. If you pass that, then you go on to stage 2. Stage 2 is a 4-day exam, which is half theory, half blind tasting. The blind tasting is 36 wines over 3 days. You have to write an essay about each one of them. So like that, the whole MS thing where they do their 6 little cute little wines in 25 minutes. I
know, but I tell people because people got inspired by the movie like you did.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Which is totally cool.
And it's awesome that it's shown the spotlight on that.
It really
for
is.
Sure.
But I tell people, do you realize what it just means? 6 fucking wines, really though, bro. Do you actually understand like what it really means?
Yeah.
Like.
And that was me, like going into it, and when I went and did the very first Somm thing. Yeah, but the cool thing about it was that opened the doorway to this whole broader thing. Yep. So anyway, so if you pass stage 2, I passed the theory part the first time I took it. I have failed the tasting now 3 times. I will take the tasting for the 4th time in a few weeks here, and hopefully this will be my year, but it may not be, and then I get one more swing at it. If I can pass that, then you move on to stage 3, where you write a thesis. It's a 10,000 word kind of research paper on whatever you want to write it on. Mine's probably going to be about wine in Bhutan.
Yeah, I was thinking. Laid the groundwork for that already, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm just like, this is like such a. So from the time you saw the Somm movie until you're accepted the Master Wine program. How long was that?
How long was that, baby? Like maybe 2 years?
Shit, that's like it's like going from high school to winning Olympic
Yeah,
gold medal. in 2 years,
I was
right?
like, I watched Hoop Dreams, and 2 years later, I'm drafted by the Clippers.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty much That's,
There's so many jealous people out there right now.
Matter of fact, I know someone who's the CEO of a wine company and a WSET diploma holder who applied to the MW program and didn't make it, and you can tell she's.
And she's in the studio today.
Yeah, she's looking at me right now.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll have you on. You can tell your side story, all right?
I honestly, I think what happened. So I'm a decent writer, as you know.
I would have to figure. I mean, shit, you wrote some books.
Yeah, I wrote some books. So I wrote an essay essentially arguing why I think I should be accepted into the MW program. And with the MW program, especially the tasting part, it's a lot of, they say, taste like a sommelier, but argue like a lawyer. Yep. They want you to really sort of take a position and then defend it. And I kind of did that. I didn't know this, by the way, at the time. This was accidentally. But I kind of did that in my essay that I wrote. And I think they read that and they said, okay, this guy can take a position and defend it. We'll let him in and see what he does. And it's gone okay so far.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but there's more astronauts in the United States than Masters of Wine, just to put it in context.
That's a great perspective.
That's a cool stat,
That's
right?
a really cool stat. Holy shit.
It's harder to be an MW than to be an astronaut.
Wow. That's bananas.
Yeah.
Let's do some wine talk. What's this rosé again? Because it's really kind of killer, man.
It's a Ihuligi.
A hooligi.
It's from the Basque region of France. So it's up against the mountains, but it's on the French side.
Yep.
And a little town, like 300 people, they make this awesome wine that's a Tannat Cab Franc blend. And it's really kind of tangy and mineral rich and earthy. And then this is the rosé version, which you can kind of tell. Like, it looks like fucking cherry cough syrup.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bright goddamn red rosé.
Yep.
And it's... You look at it and you think it's going to be sweet and fruity, and it is neither.
No.
It's like tangy and iron and like you guys should all try some of this.
I know you guys should have brought some plastic cups.
Just grab some cups from these guys. Like, how good is this though, MJ? Like, this is spectacular,
it's
right?
Really good.
Like,
man.
we should talk about this in depth. How good
know,
this
right?
is. Wow, God, this is really good.
It really is. I'm like, shit. That's fucking good, man. I get some baller bottles. You can either bring a baller bottle or an interesting bottle, and this is super interesting.
Yeah, like I'm not I don't want to be the guy who's playing that game. Like, check out my 1996 Schrader,
yeah,
and then other next guy's like, I have a 1995 Schrader.
I've never had that guy, but I've had I started at Acker, so Capon came on. He brought like a 90 shot. He brought a 90.
That's kick-ass. That's a kick-ass bottle of wine.
It's not like, and then Eric Azamov was on. He brought a Portuguese because he wanted to bring something I never had, so he brought a Portuguese, and then Robert Bohr was on. He brought a 2005 Dujac, but that's
well, this is not expensive wine, but it's a weird, cool wine.
And that's the thing. I mean, I love expensive wine, especially when someone else is paying for it, because I don't, I fucking have a podcast.
Yeah,
do the math on that. But my whole thing with my love of wine is like, oh my god, now I'm gonna fucking find this bottle and bring it somewhere and fuck people up. Right?
Yeah,
that's why it's a fuck people up bottle.
It's a fuck people up bottle, but get this. Don't get the rosé. Get the still red. The still red is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like imagine sort of a Bordeaux with more minerality. Like,
okay,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And it's one of those wines you're like, holy shit. Matter of fact, we were at Hearth last night, and so we pop open the list, and I see this bottle of wine called Jafark. Do you ever had a Jafark?
I've never had a Jafark.
I've never had a fucking Jafark. And so I call this on, I'm like, is this the grape Jafark? And she's like, oh yeah, it's really good. You should try it. I'm like, we're totally fucking doing that. Like, I'm all about, I'm curious.
Right.
Like, what are they doing? And that Jafark, that's going on the list of cool shit that I'm going to write a DACT about it. Like, it's fucking great.
So where's Jafarked from?
Hungary.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the classic Jafark region.
Yeah. For all you Jafark aficionados out there, You knew that, but that's why I have this podcast, so I can learn more about wine.
Well, I have about 12 hours more knowledge about Jafar than you do because I was like, I saw it and I'm like, we're doing that.
12 hours in your time is like fucking 12 years, man. I mean, like the way you get shit done.
That's true. Yeah, I've already achieved my level 1 Jafar certification.
Exactly. Next week will be Jafar Master.
I'm definitely getting on the Jafar bandwagon. We should blow this up.
Oh
There'll be some little guys.
Jafar.
I want to get some Hungarian producers. Like, what's going on in New York City? Like, there's a huge Jafar explosion.
Oh my God, we should do like we should do
Jafar
so
week.
You know what? We're doing a Jafar night at New York Wine Experience.
There you go.
It's gonna be off the chain. If Michael's here, it really will be. It will
be off the fucking chain.
It's like
get that shit done.
Oh my God, you got like and you're in a punk. You're such a what's the word? Not juxtaposition. Anomaly. I don't know, but like the punk rock and then you know the business. And then Jafark, and then the rum country, like it's. I love that you are not pigeonholed. You will. It's not gonna.
I'm in a category of 1.
Exactly. And I say, like when I say they broke the mold, like people say, no, they really did break the mold.
Yeah.
We can't let this happen again. I don't think the world can handle 2 of you. I mean,
what's funny is I see a lot of me and my son. And I look at him, I'm sort of like, I hope.
Well, DNA is some powerful shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like and attitude comes through DNA too, like, you know.
Totally.
So that's cool.
I have high hopes that he'll be as.
Is he an MJ Junior? Is he a Michael?
He's an MJ Junior.
Okay.
He's got one sleeve done.
Okay.
He's.
And he's going to come out as MJ 3.0, not 2.0. He's
yeah,
because he's ahead of you.
He is ahead of me, and he's done some. He's had the opportunity to go on some cool trips. Actually, I'll tell you a funny MJ 3.0 wine story. So when I started this whole journey, he was maybe 14 or 15, and I would have like him and his sister would like, I would say, go in the fridge and like grab a bottle and pour me a glass, but don't let me see what it is.
Okay.
Just bring it out to me because I want. You know, and then I would sit there and I'd try to like blind taste it and figure it out. And so he was kind of curious, but he was young. So I wouldn't let him taste the wine, but I'd let him smell it.
Mm-hmm.
And him and his sister both had really good, like exceptional palates. One day he put his nose in a glass of Albarino and he's like, this smells like 3-day-old baseball stadium floor peanut shell. And I was like, I put my, I'm like, fuck, that's exactly what this smells like.
I love that.
Nice.
I love descriptors like that, like real world shit, right?
Real world shit from a 14-year-old
Right.
kid who was just saying, this is what I feel it smells like. Anyway, we go to we're in Chicago and we're staying at the Fairmont and they have the wine bar in the lobby. And so we're walking through and I go, hey, I'm gonna see if I can do blind tasting real quick. And I sit down and the guy there was a somm and I go, hey, can I do a blind taste? He goes, yeah. And he goes, how many you want? I go, just pour like 3 reds and 3 whites. And he goes, okay. So he pours them in. And Mike is like 14. He sits there and he goes, hey, do you mind if I smell them? And the guy goes, yeah, no problem. And so Mike picks up the first one and kind of does. He goes, that's Marlboro Sauvignon Blanc. And he was fucking right. And the dude lost his shit.
Yeah.
He like starts screaming, this kid fucking called it on the nose. Called it on the nose. And then he's like, do another one. And Mike's like, fuck, I'm done.
Right. Know when to stop.
I'm going to let my dad do the next 5.
He knew when to stop.
So that's my son. He's a good kid.
That's cool. Is he, how old is he now?
He's 20. He'll be 22 in a couple weeks.
All right. So does he do anything with wine or
No.
besides drink it?
No.
Just
He's 22, you know. Long Island iced teas are quicker,
White Claw,
cheaper. Well, fucking White Claw.
What
At
the
least
fuck?
he's not that bad.
I tell people, because I grew up in the 80s, we're probably around the same age-ish. You're probably younger than me. I just look good.
Yeah, it's clean living.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah, it's clean living for me. But I was like, fucking White Claw? That's Zima. We didn't fall for that shit the first time. What the fuck?
No, we did not. And also, when Smirnoff Ice came around 20 years after that,
Oh, yeah.
we didn't fall for it
that?
then either.
No.
So, yeah.
I don't know, but I was thinking like he could have the advantage. Like I forgot who had on, but like the guy who has wine in college, like,
dude,
can rack up.
Yeah. Well, and don't think he doesn't.
I'm sure. But
like he'll tell me stories like, well, he'll go to dinner with his girlfriend's parents and they'll hand him the wine list. Like, pick out something good. Like the kid, yeah, he you know how it is. Like you don't want to be your parents.
Yeah.
But you absorb shit by osmosis.
And then you get old, you're like, fuck, I'm just like my fucking parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fuck.
Do like those progressive commercials.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, Keanu.
Don't look at it. Don't look. Blue hair.
Joaquin. Oh my God, I love you guys. No, I do all the. I like that we can do all the pop culture shit too, and you can play off it. It's so much fun. So, you know what we're gonna do? That's a good time to take a quick break. And
Right
we're
on.
Come back. We're gonna talk about books, rum, and whatever the fuck else.
Right on.
So we'll be right back, everybody. Hang on.
Do you want to go get some plastic cups? Be fucking great. Yeah. This wine's pretty fucking good, right?
Now I got to edit this, but go get some cups.
That's
okay.
Oh,
okay.
because
It's all good.
that's all right.
Yeah.
To the right, homie.
All the way down by the water cooler.
That was pretty funny, actually. Oh, this is so good. Oh, so good. Just watch Ryan over there just sweating out booze.
We should have brought more wine.
Yeah. I get it. The DTs are a motherfucker.
Oh man, I went to Paso for my first flight or second flight after COVID, man. And I went out there, man. I had the Paso shakes. Everything's like 15.5, dude.
Oh
God. And I went, I got a tasting at Saxum, and like, I'm not
Try some of this,
I'm not
too.
spitting at Saxum.
Yeah, dude. The Cali wines. Everyone's like, "Oh man, you live in California. You must love Cali wines." I'm like, no, fuck that shit. I want Burgundy.
By the way, Jafark means sheep's tail. I looked it up, and there's a Hungarian legend that they would give it to women because they believed that it would conceive a masculine child.
And let it be a masculine child.
I don't know that we're even going to edit this. My producer's going to want to, but that was awesome. That was so good.
Dude, we're gonna start a Jafar fucking revolution in this country.
We could. Oh my God, we could definitely start one in China.
we could,
If it's supposed to be a male child,
masculine
oh my
child.
God, dude, we need to corner the market on Jafar and
We
send
get
it all to China.
the Jafar export license for China. Just fucking clean up.
Clean up.
Okay,
Okay.
back to doing the podcast.
Okay, we're back.
Stop fucking around.
No, we're not gonna stop fucking around. Okay, so we were talking about Jafar and shit, and one of our in-studio audio, or we have an in-studio audience for the first time. The laughter is not canned. This is legit laughter. He looked it up, and apparently Jafar has something. It's in Hungary, it's some type of sheep, and it has to do with a woman conceiving a male child. So.
So any
So he said,
ladies out there,
put that in your Jafar. All right, I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Yeah, it's like, what can you add to that doesn't get us canceled?
Exactly. I'm like,
We're fucking
I got to stop. Because unfortunately, I'm 53, so like, I think things can go too far with like what people can and can't say. Like, I think certain things shouldn't be said, but.
That line's moved.
It's
the last few years.
Exactly. So
it's gotten a little closer to where I play.
Me too. Actually, it's backing up against the wall. So, all right. So, why Bhutan? That's the only thing I said. Why Bhutan?
Dude, Bhutan is so fucking spectacular. I mean, it's the land of happiness, and it's a bucket list destination for most people. And when you go there, you know why. Like, there's this peacefulness, this serenity, this beauty, this harmony with nature. It's everything that wine should be. And I was there to run a marathon because Anne read a book in high school that said about Bhutan, about some American lady who went there and got married, and she was like, "Oh, we're gonna go Bhutan." And I thought it was in Indonesia. I didn't even know where the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And so I booked us a trip, and she's like, "We're going to the Himalayas." And I go, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's in Indonesia." And she goes, "No, it's not. Look it up." And I was like, "Oh shit, it is in the Himalayas." So I had no like preconceived notion of Bhutan, but we went there, and I'm looking at this magical land, and I'm like, where are the fucking vineyards? I have to visit the vineyards while I'm here. And so I'm asking literally everybody. Like I at the store getting water, I'm like, "Hey, do you know where the vineyards are?" And they were like, "We don't know what the fuck you're talking about." And so eventually we ended up at this dinner with these government officials, and I was like, "Hey, I want to visit the vineyards while I'm here." And we don't have any. And I'm like, "You guys are fucking up. You need to have vineyards."
They're like, "We don't need wine. This is a happy place."
"Yeah."
Is Michael Juergens about to fuck up Bhutan?
No, I'm
People start falling off the sides of mountains and shit.
Well, what's actually every family there, this is the irony of the whole thing. Every single family there makes rice wine.
Okay.
And they make it like in their kitchens, and everyone has their own recipe. And there's this whole big thing about like my secret recipe is better than your secret recipe. And the first time we were there, we were at this dinner, and at this kind of senior guy's house, and there were some other folks there, and it was very, very formal. And everyone's kind of sitting around, and there was like 7 or 8 Americans, and I'm like, "Hey, what's this fucking rice wine thing? What's up with that?" And like everyone's sort of like elbowing, like, what, "Don't do that." And the guy's like, "Would you like to try some?" I'm like, "Absolutely, I want to try some." And so the dude goes in the other room, and he brings back this like wooden flask, and he pours it into bowls. The second he does that, every other Bhutanese guy like reaches in his robe and pulls out their wooden bottle, and they're like, no, fuck that guy's stuff. My stuff is way better." And then everybody start pouring it, and we're tasting all the different. So everybody drinks rice wine. It's like a huge part of the culture. You show up at someone's house, they're like, "Welcome to my home. Here's a bowl of Ara for you." They just never had vinifera. It was never planted there. And so I would bet if Marco Polo had like detoured through Bhutan when he was cruising the Silk Road with some grapes, like these guys would be making some kick-ass Jafark. You know, they would be.
It's my new safe word.
Jafark.
Cacao.
Oh my god. Yeah. So, anyways, that's why Bhutan.
So, I've never been to Bhutan. What is the climate like?
So Bhutan is kind of pasted onto the side of the Himalayas.
Okay.
And so at the bottom of the country, it's about the size of Switzerland, and it's kind of circular. So it's it's maybe, I would guess, 300 miles north to south. The bottom of the country, the south side, is about 500 feet in elevation, and it is jungle. And when I say jungle, I mean like monkeys, elephants, tigers, jungle, bananas, jungle shit.
Okay.
Then you move up a little bit, and you sort of get into the 3,000 to 10,000 foot range, which is where a lot of the main tourism and cities are. And that is pretty moderate. Some places of it will get 100 degrees in the summer, and winter probably 20. And then the further north you go, like the highest point is 27,000 feet. It's the highest unclimbed mountain on the planet is in Bhutan. So it gets a fucking glacier, which is a really interesting business model because I have a tremendous hedge against climate change because I have literally every climate zone. So if the world continues to heat up like a crock pot set on fucking low, 50 years from now, Champagne's fucked, Bordeaux's fucked. You know what I do? I drive 15 miles north and my average temperature goes down 10 degrees. So that the environment lends itself well to this plethora of microclimates, which I think leads us to believe that there's some real opportunities to grow some amazing wine. We just got to find what goes well in what pocket. And that's the weird part.
When did the first vines go down?
We planted the first vines 4 years ago. I have vines that are in their 4th growing season right now.
And what did you plant?
We planted 6 reds, 3 whites. The whites were Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and Petit Mansang.
Okay.
Because Petit Mansang is super rain tolerant, and they get some monsoon pressure. And then on the reds, we planted 6 reds. We planted Cabernet Sauv, Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Merlot, Syrah, and Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And then we just planted another couple vineyards. Just last month, we planted another 30 or so acres, and we kept that same 9, but we added in. I have kind of a douchey viticulturalist from a one of those fancy schools that's helping. He's also sitting over there.
It's full fucking house.
So he suggested that we add in Riesling and Chenin, which both make a lot of sense, and then also Sangiovese and Tempranillo. So we're adding those to the mix. And probably some Jafark.
Some Jafark.
I'm probably gonna get on the Jafark fucking bandwagon.
Get on the Jafark train. It's leaving the station. Don't get left behind. Have you produced any? I mean, like young vines?
No.
Like Bhutan Nouveau or anything.
I want to do a Cremant de Bhutan actually, which I think would be cool as shit. But so you know, vines are going to take 3 to 5 years to start producing. Longer and more challenging areas. We do have some challenging vineyards, a couple that are at like 9,000 feet in elevation. Those I think will probably not start producing till the 5th or 6th year. We had really good grape growth in 2 of the vineyards last year, but there was a pandemic happening. I don't know if you have heard about this COVID thing that's going on.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. And the challenge with COVID, and Bhutan has actually been written up multiple stories about how they have managed the crisis.
Right.
They have been almost like one of the shining spotlights in all this, but they are between. I say that they're between Tibet and Nepal, which is true, but technically they don't border either one of those. The only countries they share borders with are India and China, which are both having some COVID issues, right? And they're fucking small. Right. So when COVID started, they went, shut the borders, we're going to control the shit out of this, and it worked for them. But my little grapes were having their first harvest in the middle of all this, and they're like, we don't give a fuck. So we let the grapes fall last year. We'll have another harvest. We'll technically have the first harvest this year, but there's a 21-day quarantine in effect right now, and so we probably are going to let the grapes fall this year as well. Okay. And which means we'll do our first fermentation run next year.
What's your farming techniques? Biodynamic, organic, Bhutanese? What do you?
Yeah, big fan of like burying horns full of cow shit.
I
think that makes a huge difference.
I know.
Well, so Bhutan as a country is really known for, they're the only carbon negative country in the world, and they're on track to be the first 100% organic country. So there's a huge focus on sustainability. And which is great for us, right? Like, I'm not a Rudy Steiner geek about it has to be like this, but like, dude, the earth gives you good shit if you treat it well.
Right.
That being said, a couple things. One, there's rain pressure in the summer. Okay. So we got to figure out what to do about mildew. That's an issue. 2, this has never been done before. So I don't know if there's going to be new weird threats to vinifera that have never existed because there's some weird fucking insect in Bhutan that does something that, you know, so we don't know about that. And then 3, there's an interesting host of new problems, like the monkey problem.
Yeah, it's not a common problem like in California. Bordeaux,
not an issue in Napa.
You know,
not a lot of literature on how to solve for the monkey problem in the vineyards. So, and all of this is, I think, what makes Bhutan such a fucking fascinating story, right? Like, we're gonna figure out how to grow some grapes there, and it is gonna be that wine is gonna be uniquely Bhutanese. I don't know what it's gonna be like, but it is going to be uniquely Bhutanese. We might have to head train fucking 10 feet because of the monkeys and, right? And like do some weird trellising shit because of the like, I don't know. Yeah. We're figuring all this out. And when I say we, I mean that fucking guy is figuring it out because I'm not smart about that shit. I'm the sizzle.
Right.
You know, I'm the, other people have to be the substance.
I was thinking for sure, terroir will have a new meaning once you start producing some wine. You know, like you'll have wines that will truly have a sense of place.
I hope so. Well, and I think the opportunity exists to just oak the fuck out of it and extract it and make it, you know, jammy and oaky and taste like everything else. We could do that and it would sell.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I want to try to capture the essence of Bhutan in a bottle and share that with the world. And it is one of those places that everyone that goes there says this is life-changing. Like it is a place that, devoid of wine, has this really intense sense of place. And if I can capture that in a bottle, it's going to be fucking magical.
For sure, man. I mean, I'm fucking intrigued.
As long as I don't fuck it up.
Well, you know, you can't really fuck it up. You got people who are doing the shit, so as long as they don't fuck it up.
As long as, yeah. And by the way, they're on thin ice.
So, what do you like? You said we talked earlier. What do you like to drink? Like what like you said, like you like to drink it all, but like your go-to, like is it a good Burgundy? Is it what? I mean, what's your go-to?
I think like if you get asked that question, like if you could only drink one wine for the rest of your life, what would it be? For me, that'd be Burgundy. Burgundy to me though is the prices are getting fucking stupid for the good stuff.
And if they're stupid for a partner at Deloitte, think how stupid are the average fucking person.
Yeah,
right? Seriously.
I honestly don't know how some of the other MW folks do this. Like I know what my monthly wine bill is just for studying. I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
But I also am just super, super curious about trying to understand other places through wine. The fucking Jafar thing. We've been laughing about the Jafar thing. I really liked it. Yeah. Like I thought it was really, really interesting. And I love it when I get introduced to something like Uhuligi, where you're like, what the hell is this? Like this is super interesting.
It is. I'm gonna have some more.
Yeah. So I like the trying new things. I'm also a big fan of sweet wines, like something with a little bit of botrytis.
Yeah, I don't think enough people drink. People need to drink more sweet wine.
People need to drink.
Fuck it. All the fake wine drinkers are like, it's got to be dry. I'm like, well, you don't fucking really like wine. Most wine for centuries was sweet, just so it could make the passage over the oceans, right? I mean. That's why you have fortified wines. We have port. That's why you have sherry. That's why wine was oxidized. That's why you had sweet wine, And
that's why we had aromatized wines.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw a bunch of herbs in it.
Right.
Yeah, cook it. Do whatever the fuck you can to protect it.
And Riesling, despite the sweetness, still has good acid, man. You can.
Riesling's fucking awesome. I have a shirt actually that she gave me that says, "If you don't like Riesling, you're a fucking idiot."
Oh man.
I almost wore it today. I thought about it, but I didn't. But
I like Riesling, so I wouldn't be offended.
Riesling's fucking dope.
It is dope.
Sauterne, I like the really botrytized stuff, but I'll go outside of Sauterne, so I'm not paying the premium for Sauterne. I'll go to Cadillac or Lupiac or one of those, or I'm a huge fan of Jurançon.
Oh yeah,
Jurançon is fucking great. And there's another region called Pacharanc du Vicbo, which is in Mataran, which is like the Jurançon appellation within Mataran that is even more geeky and obscure than fucking than Jurançon. Yeah, matter of fact, I was writing. I sent out one of my weekly wine email blasts on Pacharanc du Vicbo, and I got a response from a Master of Wine candidate where they said, "You made this fucking wine up."
I was gonna say. I mean, you just blew everybody's mind because I didn't know about that shit. I knew about Jurançon, but that's what I love about wine is there's so much, right?
There's so much. It's never ends.
There's layers upon layer upon layer, and you got to get out there and walk around. It's boots on the ground if you really want to
totally
discover it.
And that's what I tried. When I first started studying for the MW program, I tried to go to every major global wine region specifically for that reason. Like you just wander around in the vineyards, you meet the people, you have a completely different sense of understanding what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah.
I look forward to doing that with you in Bhutan, my friend.
Oh, it's going down.
We'll fucking get you over there.
It's going down. It's going down.
We'll get you in a monastery.
Oh man, I can't wait. Rice wine. It was the rice wine. So when did you start the blog?
I started the blog. So the blog. So everyone had been after me for years to like send them wine recommendations because they know I'm kind of geeky and they're like, "Oh, dude, let me know about Jafark or whatever. What are you into?" And I was like, "This is a lot of work, and I don't actually want to do work if I can avoid it." But I was on this fucking plane ride and I was reading a book by a pretty celebrated person about wine, of sort of a wine luminary, and in the book they were ripping on Chenin Blanc. And I was like, fuck you, Chenin is awesome.
They were ripping on Chenin?
They were ripping on Chenin. They're like,
Wow.
Chenin is like a garbage grape. And I'm like, what in the world are you talking about?
Wow.
So I went home and I wrote up, I just started kind of riffing. I'm like, Chenin's awesome. You should fucking drink more Chenin. And I emailed that to like about 10 of my friends that were into wine. And this was probably a year, right before the pandemic, right before lockdown started. It was probably like January, February of last year. And everyone that got it was like, oh, dude, like that was super cool. Like, send us some more. And so I was like, all right, you know what else you should drink? Fucking Nebbiolo is great. And I wrote up something about Nebbiolo and I sent that around. And but don't go to Barolo. Like if you go to like Gattinara or Gamay or Valtellina or like you can get. So everyone's like, this is awesome. Keep these coming. So I just kept them coming, and I think last Friday was 83. So I've been doing it for 83 weeks.
Shit.
So I've sent out one a week. I missed like maybe a week or two in there, but so 83 weeks I've been doing that. And what's happened is the people who have gotten the emails have forwarded them, and like now there's hundreds and hundreds of people on my mailing list. I actually had to go and like contract with like a website.
Oh yeah,
because I couldn't handle it out of my inbox anymore. It got too big. But yeah, it's been great. And the other thing that's been super cool is I've heard anecdotally all around the country there's these little groups like springing up where like people will get together for like a weekly wine night, but they base it off of the book.
Oh shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'll get emails from people or texts from people where they're like, holy shit, like I got a text the other night from someone at a restaurant. She took a picture of the wine list and she texted it to me and she's like, I get it, I'm doing it. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. Like we're not intimidated by it. We're leaning in on it. We're like cool with like, oh, there's a Jafark. Let's have fun with Jafark. Like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, which is the way it should be, I think.
I agree. I think that's cool that an MW candidate, people are texting you and sending you pictures of wine lists. Most people don't like. You're not gonna have access to an MW who's gonna be like gonna allow them to do that, right? I know a few candidates. I know a few candidates, but most people are not gonna be able to just like, hey, right. Look, I'm in a study group based on your blog.
Well, I will.
And your phone number's at the end of the MailChimp thing, so I'm gonna text you.
Yeah, it cuts both ways.
Exactly.
But I am super passionate and geeky about it. Like if someone came to me and was like, hey, like this Jafark thing, like is that like what do you know?
We know that it's like what the Jafark. That's gonna be like the title of this episode.
What the Jafark?
What the Jafark.
Yeah, but like how much fun has it been like talking to like neither one of us knows shit about Jafark, but we're curious and like that's fucking cool. I will have that conversation 10 times out of 10 with people.
Yeah.
What I don't want to have is where someone's going, I'm trying to pick the best Camus or Silver, pick your sort of status wine,
right.
And I'm wondering is the 2018 better than the 2017? I'm like, yeah, if it's 2030, either one of those is probably fine, but don't drink either of those right now. That's too fucking young. So I'm happy to engage with anybody at any time on wine geek stuff, but not if it's a statusy bullshit wine douche thing.
Right.
Then,
no, I mean, because that's easy. That's not even easy. I mean, that's just flexing, That's just flexing. I can spend $500 on a bottle. I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? Like,
so totally.
It's not interesting to me.
And by the way, I don't care how much you flex. Somebody else can flex more.
And that's the thing, right?
Right.
Oh my God.
Oh, here's my 1945 Romani Conti vineyard. And someone's like, oh, you just have the one bottle? I got the Magnum. Exactly. Or whatever the fuck it is. Right. I turned 50 during the pandemic, and we had planned to throw this huge party, and I was gonna hire. You'll love this. I was gonna hire Grandmaster Flash and Flogging Molly to play my 50th birthday party.
No, that's never happened before.
tell me you wouldn't have gone to that
Oh,
party.
shit, no, yeah.
Everyone would have been like, fuck. So we had this whole thing, and then the pandemic happened. So I'm like, well, what? I guess we're not gonna do this. And so I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy like a bucket list kind of wine. And so I bought a 180-year-old bottle of Madeira from 1840, and we sat at the kitchen table and like drank this 180-year-old bottle of wine. It was fucking great. You guys actually tried it because you were there right afterwards. I saved a little bit for you. Anyway, I don't know why I told this story, but it's an interesting story.
It's a great story. We were talking about flexing, and that's not flexing.
Flex, yeah,
It's not flexing per se.
But so my point is,
Michael, you dropped something.
sorry for digging that furrow in the carpet of the studio here. No, but my point is, like, if someone's gonna flex, that's the kind of flex.
No, that's
I
a
want,
cooler
right?
flex,
That's
right,
a way
right,
cooler
right,
flex
right.
than like I bought a more expensive version of whatever fucking cult thing you're drinking.
Right.
Like I don't know if you saw Screaming Eagle got dropped off by Ghost Horse.
No.
Yeah, so they just threw out the rankings this year, and like Ghost Horse dropped Screaming Eagle off as the highest price Napa cab, and I'm like, who fucking cares? Like seriously, not. That's the dumbest thing to get fired up about ever.
Yeah.
Like, yours was only $4,600. Mine was $48.
Yeah.
Like, look at what a baller I am, you fucking pussy. And I'm over here with my Jafark going, ha ha ha.
I know. Your Jafark and your Basque wine.
My Ihuligi. Just say that with me, MJ. Ihuligi.
Ihuligi.
Yeah, just look at the ladies.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
when you just
Hey.
you gotta, hey,
Why don't you come on over?
for some Ihuligi.
I got a bottle of Ihuligi.
All right,
So let's talk. So you've written books.
I've written some books.
How many wine books have you written?
5.
Shit.
Yep.
So from the time you saw the Somm movie till you wrote 5 books about wine, how long was that, Michael?
About the same time. Well, so I'll tell you how this started. We as I was studying for the Somm, I'm reading all these books, and wine books, as you know, can be a little dry.
Really?
Can
Yeah.
be a little dry. And I was like, why isn't there like a fun wine book, like an exciting, like, what about like wine fiction? And like, there's that Sideways book. That book was kind of cool, but it's not a little more romantic for my taste. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to read like a wine book that's like got like
Like a wine graphic novel.
yeah, exactly. Or something with some hustle and some
Yeah,
guns and shit in it. So I'm like, that doesn't exist. So fuck it, I'm gonna write one. So I wrote this book about the secret underground world of high stakes gambling on blind tasting competitions run by the mafia, and these 2 dudes that try to fucking scam the system to make off with all the money.
So you wrote a Rounders About Wine.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. Or the Color Money
Right.
about wine. Yeah, exactly. Based on blind tasting competitions. And it was a lot of fun to write. And it was.
That's a pretty cool concept.
And
That's very cool.
It's a pretty entertaining read. And
I mean,
I had so
'cause
much.
We need some different wine movies, man. They all end up kind of being romantic, right?
Exactly. This is like the color
Walk
of
in the
money.
Clouds with Keanu Reeves. They all end up kind of being like romantic. Like.
There's a market for that
Let
shit.
somebody get
I don't want to watch that
I
shit.
got fucked up. I drank too much wine. Now I'm jammed up. How do I get out of it? My blind taste these 10 wines.
Yeah. Seriously.
The oligarch will let me go.
Yeah. Yep. That's the book I wanted to read, but it didn't exist, so I wrote it. And then I wrote a sequel to that, and then I wrote a third book, a third sequel, or a third book in that series with the same protagonists, and it's all kind of the same style. I wrote a book of short stories called The Champagne Tales that all have a theme about champagne, but each one is different. And in it, I basically tried to pull on every emotion that I could. So one of the stories will make you laugh. One's going to make you really angry. One's going to make you really sad. One's going to make you just cry. There's one I was beta testing this one story with Anne, and I'm like, hey, will you read this story? I want to see like if my little writing device worked. And so she's reading it. And I'm sitting there like staring at her like this, and she's reading it, and she gets to the end, to the part, and her face just drains of color, and she just starts sobbing uncontrollably. And I jump up and I go, yes! And she looks at me like, why are you happy? I'm like, well, I'm not happy that you're sad, baby.
But I nailed it.
But I nailed it. Yeah, it fucking worked. And then I wrote, obviously, I took the first 52 wine blogs and put them into drinking and knowing things, which hit #1 in its category on Amazon last week. It dethroned The Wine Bible by Karen McNeil for like an hour. but I took a fucking screenshot when it did.
You got to do that, man.
Yeah,
Because it happened.
It happened.
But I mean, so how would you compare this to the Wine Bible? I mean, do you think? I mean, like.
So I think by the way, I have 3 copies of the Wine Bible at my house.
Yeah.
Like that has been my go-to resource for forever. I'm actually going to go back and look and see if she has a Jafark in there. And see what the fuck
I
she's
know. I'm my little. See, I'm a Cliff Notes guy. You're way too smart for me. So like, I have like Jancis Robinson's Guide to Wine Grapes. It just has the grape, where it's from.
Yeah,
it's so slim. So I'm like, how did I miss Jafark?
Yeah, somewhere in that fucking encyclopedia of grapes.
I'm gonna go find Jafark.
So my whole thing on that is pick your buddy who's kind of interested in wine, but is not interested enough to spend any time whatsoever reading the Wine Bible or Jancis or anything. Right. But if you were out to dinner with them, you'd be like, dude, you want to try this Jafark? Why would I try a Jafark? It's fucking interesting. Here's what's interesting about it. It's from Hungary. I never fucking heard of the grape, and it's weird. Well, are you in? We'll give it a go.
Right.
That's what this book is. It's just in written form rather than conversational form. It's 3 minutes of like, here's a wine, a Houligi. Here's why I think it's interesting. A, it's from the French Basque region. B, it's Tannat, which is an awesome grape, Cabernet Franc, which is an awesome grape, and Cabernet Sauvignon. And I don't know any other place in the world that's putting those 3 fucking grapes together. And it's super minerally. And also it's got this crazy weird name that's fun to say.
Totally.
Like,
totally.
Are you in on trying some of this with
God.
me?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. So that's what this book is.
And the book's really cool because it's kind of got like a Banksy feel on the cover, So like inside of this book, what was these are the first 52. What was like out of the first 52? What was like your biggest discovery, or what did you have the most?
Well,
fun with?
so pretty much all these. Like I'm going to write one about Jafark, but
there's no
the
Jafark Chronicles. The Chronicles of Jafarkia.
Jafark Part 1, Jafark Part 2. But most of these, like I literally, it's whatever I'm drinking at the time. Like I'll be sitting there, I'm like, I'm drinking this Tannat.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in here on Tannat. I think Tannat's #9. And I was drinking Tannat. And I'm like, nobody knows about Tannat. Tannat's a great grape. Like you should be drinking more Tannat. And so that's kind of how I've written them. But what I will tell you is there's a few that people tend to respond to.
Okay.
The champagne one, I get a lot of responses where people are like, the champagne one was great. There's one on wine etiquette and one on wine ratings. That I get a lot of.
Well, wine ratings is it's a controversial topic. It's an easy one to people take sides very easily on that one. You sent me the books. I didn't have time to go through them. I had brought them. I was going to go through them on the train, but that didn't happen. What do you feel about champagne? What's your philosophy? Are you a grower? Are you a big house guy?
My philosophy is that that's a wine that I completely love the style of, particularly like vintage champagne, stuff that's spent a lot of time on lees. I really, really like. I would tell you that for the most part, I could get a 10-year, aged on lees 10 years champagne for $250. I could get a 10-year aged on lees Trento Doc for $70. So I'm probably going to drink the Trento Doc.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was going to drink champagne, I would probably be more like, let's go vintage Grand Cru. And some of those Grand Cru ones, if you kind of know the growers, you can get them, $30, $40. My whole thing is like, it's fermented grape juice, right?
Right.
As you know. And the reason that this particular vineyard, the wines there are $50, and the one that literally is 10 feet away, the wines are $400, is supply and demand. And so I'm like, they're pretty much the same wine. I'm going to enjoy them pretty much the same. I want the $50 one. and so in Champagne, that's pretty manifest.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but I think one of the demise, if you will, of bargains like in places like Champagne is like we have because the internet on one level. I mean, in the late '90s, we did this. It was '98 New Year's Eve, '97 going into '98. We did 25 champagnes. We had Krug, DP, first vintage of Le Grand Dame Rosé. And I mean, back then those were like 130 a bottle, but we had 5 Aigle Oreillers, and Skurnik had just brought it to market. They were all like 49 fucking bucks.
yeah,
Right.
And now they're 200.
Exactly, they're
Yeah.
49 bucks.
Yeah.
And all 5 of those were in our top 10 wines of the night, right? And now they're
Right.
fucking, $200.
Yeah.
They were 45 to 49.99 in the late 90s. And
But you have to grab it right. Like
Yeah.
you should have just stocked up. I did that with Domaine Loire released a Gamay this year, and it was the first year.
Yeah.
And I bought as much of it as I could.
Right.
As much as I could, because I know next year that wine's going to be $100.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 years from now it's going to be 500.
Yeah. I mean,
And I just outed it on fucking
I know.
on air.
I know.
It was the dumbest
That's
fucking
okay.
thing I could. Can we fix that in post?
We can't fix that. But I think, fortunately, I think the large majority of my listeners are like, they runs the gamut, so I don't think anybody's going to make a run on the raw gamay. I'm going to go look into it, though. I'm about to look into it. And that's another thing too. What kind of like advice would you give people? Like you mentioned Loire, I always say no importers, no producers, and no regions, because if you know those, if you have an understanding, you can know what's right next to Montrachet and his even though it's a Bourgogne, because they're it's fucking like really like Montrachet. Like what's your like how do you advise people when they ask that question? Like, Michael, how do I know what's a good wine?
Well, I steal the Paul Greco line, which is, if you take a sip and it makes you want to take another sip, and then if you take another sip and it makes you want to finish the glass, that's a good wine. Doesn't matter what it is.
You know what's so funny? Paul is actually coming in on Wednesday. He's the next guest.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, I've never met the guy, but I don't want to say I fanboy him a little bit, but I fucking fanboy him a little bit.
Y'all should go to Terroir and tear it up.
Well,
I don't know if they're ready.
We get that.
I don't know if they're ready.
We've done that a few times. matter of fact, we were at Hearth last night. Now, I mean, he's not affiliated with that anymore. But anyways, tell him I said I respect the fuck out of that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think for me, the thing that was most useful on my wine journey was I did this thing for about a year where I would go into wine shops and I would make a point of buying shit that I didn't know what it was. And I would look at the label and I'm like, oh, I've seen that before. I've heard of that. Like, I might not know anything about it, but I'm familiar with it. And I would find stuff and I would check labels until I find something that I didn't know, and I'd buy it. Red, white, sparkling, didn't matter what the fuck it was, sweet, whatever. And I would take it home and I would drink it. And like a lot of the time, I wasn't necessarily a fan of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was a fucking huge fan of it. And then what would happen is you're just naturally curious. So like, you drink something, you're like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like, what is it? It's Jafark. Let me look it up. Oh, it means sheep's tail. And there's, it makes you get a masculine child. All right, cool. But you're doing it because it's organic and it's fun and you're interested in it. Not because you need to know the difference between Chassagne Montrachet and Puligny Montrachet. And that's a big fucking important deal. And like, I tell that to my friends, and I'm like, fuck you, we're not doing that. I tell them, like, dude, you want to drink the sheeptail line? It makes a masculine baby? And they're like, yeah, let's try that. So I think this idea of it's okay to be ignorant about wine. I make mistakes. I learned last night about Jafark, right? It's, you don't need to be an expert. Be comfortable not being an expert and be comfortable telling the somm, like, what's the weirdest shit you have on the menu? I want to try that. Like, literally, that's what we said to the person last night at Hearth. So I think that to me is more important than trying to go through this journey of memorizing grapes or memorizing regions or memorizing whatever. Just try some shit, and you know what? You're not going to like it all.
No, I tell people
that's cool.
And I tell people, I'm like, listen, you like, how you learn about wine? I said, I taste shit, and like, and You're not. You might just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not varietally correct and it's not
Totally.
showing a sense of place. But it's okay not to like it.
Right.
I don't. I just.
You know what happens is we have this brand thing where, okay, everyone knows that I'm going to pick on Silver Oak. And Silver
That's
Oak
okay.
is a well-crafted wine that is absolutely exactly what it's supposed to be every time, right? But everybody knows, like, oh, that's an important thing. If you buy Alexander Valley Silver Oak for $80 and you show up at your work Christmas party, everybody is going to be like, oh, nice. You fucking bought the Silver Oak. Oh, fucking sweet. You walk into any business dinner, you can order that. No one's going to make fun of you. You see it by the glass. You order it by the glass. Like, it's a safe play. The not safe play is the ahuligi. Right?
That's not gonna.
It's not a safe play. And so most people are going to be like, I'm going to opt in for this safe play. And then that just steamrolls forward. And now we have an entire fucking country of people who are making the safe wine play. And you go to, like, there's a town in Spain where they do a wine fight every year. You load up squirt guns and water balloons and shit with wine, and everyone wears white, and the whole entire town engages in a wine fight for a day.
Like all day.
All day.
Like
Tell me that's not fucking awesome.
That's kind of all day. Like even where you're like, I'm all kind of. You get hit with another wine balloon, right? Like trying to hide.
I got you, motherfucker. Yeah. Now, imagine Napa doing that. Like Napa is like, oh, we got to do it.
That is not happening in Napa.
No, but it should. Like it
I could see
should
it
be
happening
this
in
fun thing.
Mendocino. Maybe some places in Sonoma. Maybe a ranch or two.
Paso might do it.
Yeah, I could see it happening in Paso.
Yeah.
But not Napa.
Right? And so I think...
Which sucks, right?
Well, the problem is we came behind the curve, right?
Yep.
So everybody else was making wine for thousands and thousands of years. And then we started doing it. We're like, we're good too. We're good. Look at our stuff. It's also good. And in order to do that, we had to be this, like, treat it with maybe a whole lot more respect than it needed to be treated. And it worked. We put California on the map, and Napa is we have many legitimate.
The world famous wine growing region. It says it right there when you drive
right
up.
on the fucking sign. Yeah, and we need to do that. But the downside of that is there's not a wine fight. But there fucking should be.
Wine Fight Club. Oh shit. So we're gonna start a Jafar Revolution and wine fights.
Wine fights. Yep.
Wonder if we could get people to pay. to throw wine at each other.
Well, probably a lot. Actually,
I know.
I was honestly just
yeah.
You get the wine and keg on tap. You can hook the water balloon right up to the tap, fill it up out of here, and sell wine water balloons for $10 a balloon.
Yeah, it'd be like a buy the glass program, a buy the balloon program.
Here's an honest question. Like, if there was a place that there was a wine fight that you could just go in and just throw wine,
I'd win.
Would you go? 100%.
Yeah.
100% would go. How much would you pay? I'd pay $100 to do that.
Yeah,
I'd pay $100.
Yeah.
I might pay $2.
Yeah, I'd even pay $2. I'm paying that to go on this fucking champagne cruise. So.
You don't even get.
I'm not gonna get to break a glass or throw any champagne in anybody's face.
Hang on, I've got a great idea. If you want to get sort of more recognition for the podcast, take the champagne cruise, and also make it the wine fight.
I know. That would get a lot of notoriety. I'd be like on New York One. A wine podcaster was arrested for throwing a balloon full of champagne at the ship's captain of the catamaran.
He muttered something about, we do wine wrong in the United States. Fuck you. As he was being led away.
He called his lawyer, Jafar.
So the one thing that's funny is there was that Aladdin movie where the bad guy's name is Jafar.
Yeah.
So every time I hear Jafar, like we were laughing
about
about
I'm thinking about Jar Jar Binks, which everyone hated that character in the fake Star Wars. Like, we can have him come back. We can have Jar Jar Binks host Jafar night at New York Wine Experience. All right, what do we got to talk about before we wrap up?
I don't don't know, by the way, what you were expecting to get when you scheduled
No,
this
I know,
fucking
no, I
thing,
know,
but
no, I know,
it's
I know it's gonna be fucking wild. So this is perfect. This is so much fun. I love this because how I found you was another podcast listener sent me an email.
Oh, it said you should check this fucking guy
He's
out.
like, you said your show's about philosophers, the mavericks, the deep thinkers. He's like, have I got a guy for you?
Right on.
And so like we did some. I just Googled you real quick, and I remember just like, we gotta get this fucking guy on. This is gonna be bananas. I mean, I was like, so 5 books, MW candidate, certified wine specialist, certified som. When do you fucking sleep?
Yeah, it's
a problem.
But dude, here's the thing. You get one time, right? You get one ride on the fucking merry-go-round, right? And everyone says, find stuff that you're passionate about and do that, and then you have an amazing life. And everything that I do, like I only want to do epic shit with cool people. That's all I want to fucking do. But if it's that, I'm all in.
Right.
And that's an awesome thing to do. And yeah, I love writing books. I love wine. I love hanging out with wine people. Fucking love meeting guys like you. Hey, like this is a cool fucking way to spend a Saturday.
Yeah.
I would rather do this than do, I don't know, yard work or fucking yoga or whatever other people are doing.
Yeah.
So like to me, it's a lot of effort, but it's fun shit. So
no,
like,
it's pretty epic. What are your other books? You got what are your other Blind Faith? What?
So the Blinders. This is the whole fucking Rounders trio. It's Blinders, Double Blind, and Blind Faith. Those are the 3 books. Then there's the Champagne Tales, which is the Champagne's short stories, and then there's Drinking and Knowing Things. All those are on Amazon under my pen name, Michael Amon. Yeah. My middle name is Amon, so I'm.
You're getting that whole my MJ.
I'm MJ. I'm the real way of doing MJ, not with the fake fucking
no,
middle name
the
bullshit.
Real name is in. Listen,
it's like
what'd you say about my mama? My mama called me MJ. There was three Marvins. My dad was Marvin. I have a cousin who's 5 years older named Marvin, and so my government name is Marvin John Towler.
Got it.
So the differentiation. I've been called MJ before Michael Jordan, before Michael Juergens. I'm the MJ.
I mean, I guess if you're gonna do it the whole middle name way, I mean, it's not the traditional way of being an MJ, like the cool way, like me, Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but you know what? I get that. I think about that. I stay up at night thinking about it. But who gives a fuck what the world calls? My mama called me MJ. That's real MJ, man.
My mama called me Michael Amon Juergens.
Yeah,
that usually started with that.
Yeah, yeah. If she said Marvin John, I was in fucking trouble.
Yeah, Michael Amon meant some shit was about to go down. I was about to get some sort of things. Yeah. So anyway, so my middle name's Amon, and all my books are published on Amazon under Michael Amon. But honestly, this is anyone who wants to get on the Drinking and Knowing Things bandwagon can just go to drinkingandknowingthings.com and sign up, and you'll get all of them mailed to you once a week from the beginning. You don't even have to buy the book. Yeah. Like my goal of doing this is I want to change the wine culture in America. I truly want to do this. Like, we made this fucking thing out of it. It doesn't need to be this thing. Let's all start having fun with it. I want to go to Olive Garden and have them give me a Jafark, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, when that happens, you will have done some shit, my man.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's next, man?
What's next is, we got another 1,920 acres of vines to plant in Bhutan. We're gonna make that country relevant on the global wine scene, and it's hopefully it will express a sense of place, but hopefully in a really positive way, as opposed to a negative way. And yeah, we'll just keep doing kick-ass shit.
Well, fuck. This went by really quick.
Jesus Christ!
Like, literally,
yeah, we blew this up.
I say this I've said this to a few people, but you're a friend of the show. Anytime you want to come back on, just give me some advance notice and we'll fucking do it. We got to rip.
This is awesome. You know what we should do? Also, not go on camera. We'll just go out and drink some wine.
Oh, we could do that too.
Yeah.
You just call me. I'm in fucking New York. That's even
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Because I'm not. Like,
We need plausible deniability.
I don't document all my wine adventures. It's like these fucking influencers. Sometimes I just want to enjoy fucking wine with cool people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't need the whole fucking world to know about it.
Yeah.
So best place to find you?
Drinkingandknowingthings.com, bhutanwine.com, SoCalRum.com, Instagram. You know, I'm not super good with the Instagram, but you know, I try to throw some shit up there. That's at Drinking and Knowing.
Very cool.
And yeah, welcome everybody. Truly, if you want to change your life and learn some cool shit about wine, get on the Drinking and Knowing Things bandwagon.
Well, man, this has been a fucking trip.
This has been awesome.
It's been awesome. This is legit, right? So I say until the next time, cheers to the Mavericks, check. Philosophers, check. Deep thinkers, check. And all the wine drinkers, it's your boy MJ. Peace.
Word.